So I'm a scientist. I love crunching a lot of data. That's what I'm trained for. So in this new research, I just published it. What I'm using is interfaith marriage as a tool, a marker for pluralism. I want to compare, there are so many religions. What is the pluralism in different faiths? And that's what I did this research. And what I found, bottom line, 99% of restrictions on interfaith marriages are imposed by Islamic countries. Now, if you are interested in more numbers, that amounts to 1.1 billion Muslims. And for others, it's some 7 million Jews there from Israel. There is one difference between Jews and Muslims, and that is if you are in Israel, if you don't want to convert, what you do is go to next country, that is, let's say Greece, get civil married, come and register, and you bypass the law. Those options are not allowed in Muslim majority nations. Now you may be wondering that how about the Christians? And almost all Christian majority nations out of 122, only one, and that's Vatican City, that's not even a full-fledged nation. They give full freedom of interfaith marriages. So you can see there is a major stark difference between Christianity and Islam. As expected, dharmics are pluralists. They do not have, their scriptures does not have that concept of other religions, and there is no restrictions on interfaith marriage in all 14 dharmic nations. So you may wonder, how did I do the research? What I did, that I used the Hiddush data. That's an Israeli American think tank. And they have gone through massive 195 countries data, and they crunch up and really big, huge study they have published. And what they have published is a freedom of marriage, not interfaith marriage, but marriage, in which one they have lumped all kind of issues like polygamy, forced marriages, underage marriages, and all that. What I did, that I removed all those other things, kept only interfaith marriage out of those data. And then I took Hussein Kitani's really massive demographic work, population analysis as of 2020. And I plugged in those data number sets into Hiddush data. I determined the freedom of interfaith marriage. I published this article in Pathos. It's a long, big 18-page articles, and you will find it very interesting. So bottom line, 99.4% of restrictions are imposed by Muslim majority nations on Muslims. Some 0.6% or 7 million Jews nominal, almost none Christians, and none Dharmic for sure. You may find this slide interesting. Okay, if you focus on the countries, there are 53 countries with a Muslim majority. Of that, 32 or 60% of those countries have severe restrictions on interfaith marriages. And interestingly, 21, that is 40% of those countries, have full freedom of interfaith marriage. If you look at the population, those countries have 1.8 billion people. Of that, 1.6 billion are Muslims. As I said, 1.1 billion people have restrictions, and some 500 million people don't have any restrictions. If you put, considering there are 85% of people on those countries are Muslim, some 71% of the Muslims in those 53 countries have severe restrictions. Some 29% have full freedom of interfaith marriage. This is the most important point, and that is freedom of interfaith marriage is allowed in 21 Islamic nations, even though they have 86% of populations are Muslim. So where is the disconnect? They could have made any laws for them. So the point I'm trying to make, that my presentation is not against Islam. It's not against the Quran, but it's against the intolerant interpretation of the Quran by these 32 Islamic nations and many other believers. See, to start with, that 1.1 billion number is severely underreported. See, as a scientist, I have to have a really valid data to analyze that, which I don't have it. And that's why I reported whatever I have the data. For the example, I say that in Islamic nations, majority nations, Chad and Senegal, they have a full freedom of interfaith marriage, and I put the number 0 from those countries. But in those countries, they allow Sharia practices in that certain segments. And if I had those numbers, those numbers will go much higher than 1.1 billion, as I have reported. Even Christian majority nations, Congo, Ghana, Philippines, they also allow Sharia practices. Countries like Turkey, they may be liberal, but the community is socially and culturally intolerant to such unions. India, a Hindu majority nation, everybody has full liberty of marrying whoever they wish to. But when the Hindu and Muslim marry in India, even though Muslims have full freedom of interfaith marriage and marry by the civil marriage, they choose to marry by the Sharia-based Muslim Personal Law 1937, and they will ask or impose the Hindu party to convert to Islam and that get married. I do not have any number, but I would say probably 90% of marriages in India or more, Hindu party must convert to Islam, even though they have a full liberty. Even in West, in America, in my own company, I used to work in San Francisco, Genentech. Only two colleagues were Muslims, and both of them converted their wives to Islam because they believed in this Sharia, even in most progressive states and the city. I have published in my book that 45%, my own survey, that 45% of Muslims in America, they marry outside the Islam. And I suspect majority of them also ask their spouse to convert to Islam, which I don't have number. So if you put collectively all those numbers, the restrictions on interfaith marriages probably is way, way much higher than 1.1 billion Muslims. You may be wondering, what is about Israel? Israel don't have any civil marriage. You cannot. And even all kind of Jews, they must conduct, the weddings should be conducted only by Orthodox Jewish law and officially recognized by the Jewish majority population. But in Israel, as I said, that if you want to marry a Jew, let's say Muslim wants to marry a Jew, only thing they need to do is just fly to next country, Greece, register, have the civil marriage, come back to Israel, and Ministry of Interior accepts the civil marriage performed abroad. So this is relatively an accessible workaround. It's a loophole in the law. They put it on. Do you think that they did not know it? They knew it. They just want to give liberty to people to bypass. Such liberty is not allowed in Muslim nations. Malaysia. Let's say you married in America to some Malay Muslim person. America, you lived here for 10 years, you have children, and then you decide, now we want to go and settle in Malaysia. So you go there. According to Malaysian law, you are a married person, you must re-register your marriage with the Malay representative. If you don't, then your marriage is not valid. You two people cohabitating is not valid. It could go under khalwat, zina laws, and you could get into legal trouble for illegally living with someone else. So interfaith couple who married outside Malaysia cannot register their interfaith marriage in Malaysia, and their children will not have a benefit of Malaysian citizenship. In Malaysia, everyone has their ID card, and in Muslims' ID card, as you can see in the circle, it says Islam. So when you go for registration, the clerk has to only check whether, okay, your card says Islam, your card says Islam, will let you have the marriage or register your marriage. Let's say you have a child, then again ask for parents' ID card. If both of them have Islam written, the child will have that ID card with Islam. You cannot have, there is no other way. If you want that ID card, it will come with the Islam logo. And once that Islam logo goes on your ID card, there is no way, almost no way, you can remove that. Even you go to courts and all that, unless you migrate out of Malaysia. Naturally, you'll be understanding, tell me, what about Pakistan and Bangladesh? So in Pakistan, 96.5 people are Muslims. And Muslims and divorce laws are governed by Sharia. So Sanja has published a really beautiful article just this month. And what she is saying that minority in Pakistan, Christians and Muslims, young girls get abducted. When they go and complain to the government, first government does that take this girl and put it in the custody of another Muslim family, not a Christians and Hindu families. And when the court starts, judge has to only ask the imam, and imam will says, well, she said Kabul, she nodded, matter is over. The girl will be given to their abductor, and the Christians or Hindu parents will be left to crying. Nothing they can do because that's what their laws are. Hindu population in Pakistan in 1940 was 14.6%. Today is 1.6%, and it's going to be ever dwindling. And interfaith marriage may be playing a major role in this dwindling population. So Bangladesh, 89.6 people there are Muslims, and they legally permit interfaith marriages. Very secular nation, great. But social norms makes them nearly impossible to have a Hindu-Muslim marriage in Bangladesh. Again, there also Hindu population declined from 28% some 80 years before to today roughly 8%. And again, it's ever declining. Interfaith marriages may be contributing to even further decline. My Muslim Pakistani friend told me that in Pakistan and Bangladesh, you will not find a single Hindu-Muslim couple, and if there, will be executed. Compared to that, the neighboring India, right in between two, you will find Hindu-Muslim couple in probably every major towns. So there is a major difference in the pluralism or open-mindedness about interfaith marriages